Are you ready for a pixie book? Come on and listen in! With stories full of wonder, it's time now to begin. Hello there, children! Do you wish to hear a story? Here's a wonderful story about wishes. Once upon a time, there was an old fisherman. He lived with his wife in a small broken hut by the sea, in the middle of pretty much nowhere. They were very poor. Every day, the fisherman would go out to the sea and wait for the tide to come so he could find fish to bring back home for dinner. One day, as the fisherman sat by the sea, he felt a sudden pull at his line. The fisherman carefully pulled it out of the water, expecting to see an ordinary fish. But what he pulled out was no ordinary fish. Oh no, you see, it was a gold flounder. Do you know what a flounder is? I'll spare you the Google search. A flounder is a flat fish that lives at the bottom of the ocean. And this flounder was shimmering gold with blue sparkling eyes. Truly a beautiful thing. The fisherman was quite surprised. But he was even more surprised when the fish started speaking. "Dear fisherman," said the gold flounder, "let me go, please. I'm an enchanted prince, and if you release me, I'll grant you 3 wishes." The fisherman didn't want to return home empty-handed, but he felt sorry for the fish and let him go. Splash! He landed back in the water. "Oh, thank you, dear fisherman. Now, what is your first wish?" The fisherman thought, "My dear wife is always complaining about our run-down hut. Well, now there's a chance to fix it. Well, if you could, I'd like you to fix my home. It's broken, small, and dirty. If you don't mind, that's my wish." The gold flounder nodded. "Very well, it's done. You can go back to your home, dear fisherman. Thank you for sparing my life." When the fisherman got back home, he couldn't believe his eyes. His wife was standing at the door of a brand new cottage with a red roof and green windows. She was very happy. "Oh, dear husband, how did it happen?" The fisherman told her exactly what happened. When he finished, she told him, "If the magical fish could give us this cottage, why not ask for a bigger house with gardens and a car in the driveway?" The fisherman was confused. "Dear, we were given this cottage as a gift, as our first wish. I don't want to anger the magical fish. Why can't we just be satisfied with this house?" "No, husband. Tomorrow you go back to the sea and ask for a bigger house. You saved this prince's life. For sure he won't mind." And so the next day, the fisherman went back to the sea, and when came the tide, so did the flounder. "Dear flounder," he said, "I'm sorry to bother you, but my wife, well, she'd like a bigger house." The flounder nodded. "All right, dear fisherman, that's your second wish." The fisherman walked back to the house, and guess what? Yes, where a cottage once was, now stood a big stone house, surrounded by gardens and a driveway with a brand new car. But his wife was not done yet. "If the fish could grant us this big house, why not ask for a castle with tall towers and 100 rooms, servants and guards and limousines?" "Oh, but my dear wife," said the fisherman, upset, "we already asked for a bigger house, and the fish was nice enough to give us one. We don't need such a grand castle." His wife shook her head. "Go back and ask for a castle." And so the next day he waited for the tide by the sea. Oh, dear Flounder, I'm sorry to bother you again, but my wife wants to be the queen of a castle."
The Flounder nodded. When the fisherman returned, tuxedo-wearing servants greeted him and escorted him onto a huge driveway with sports cars and limousines, then into a giant castle with the roof made of gold, cooks, and many gardens. His wife sat on a big throne with a golden crown upon her head.
"Well, you must be happy now," he said to her. But oh no.
"If the fish could give us this castle—"
"What could possibly be bigger than a castle? Well, you already have it all, and we were only given 3 wishes." She shook her head.
"Nonsense! I am now the queen, and the fish must do as I command. Get him here to live with us as my servant."
The fisherman tried to argue, but there was no point. The next day, with a heavy heart, he went back to the sea and sat by the water sad. "Dear magic fish, I'm sorry, but my wife, the queen, wishes that you come live with us and grant her all the wishes she might have forever." The fish stared at the fisherman for a few moments and simply said, "Go home." He dove back into the water and was never seen again. The fisherman went back home, but when he arrived, the castle was gone. No cars or servants or gold-coated doors. Instead, he found his wife sitting on the ground, no crown in sight, next to their old broken hut. "Come, my dear, let's go back home." And so they did, and they lived there together, poor but grateful for each other. The end. Oh, what a magical tale! Say, children, if you met the gold magical flounder and were granted a wish, what would you wish for? Well, take your time and think about it. Bye-bye for now.
Did you like the story? Then click like.